Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. I'm Chris, this is my channel, absolute pleasure to have you with me here today. And this video, this installment on my channel, is going to take a closer look at the Nacelle Toys Star Trek figures line. I know, right? You weren't expecting that. Bit of a departure. Well, you probably weren't expecting that because you've seen the thumbnail. But yeah, these caught my eye. I'm a little bit of a trekker on the sly. I've enjoyed many episodes of Star Trek in my days. I might make another video on this subject, but it sent me, talking about these figures sent me on a real kind of nostalgic cul-de-sac in my head around the 6 p.m. BBC Two television schedule here in the United Kingdom. Maybe I'll, let me know if you want to hear more about that in the comments down below. I'll do a thoughts on the sofa on it. It'd probably be of no interest to anyone, but let me know if you're curious to know what I'm getting at. But yes, Nacelle releasing a new 6-inch line of Star Trek related figures. We've had some Star Trek stuff of late. Super 7 have done some Star Trek stuff. There's obviously the Playmates that's very popular. It never really goes away, but I'm a 6-inch guy, so my head is going to be turned by a new 6-inch line, especially one in an IP that I'm a fan of. So I thought we'd take pause, have a quick look at the digital renders. I'll share some thoughts, just do a good old classic digital render review, like the regulars around these parts will know well enough. And then I'll invite you to drop into the comments down below and share your thoughts on the line. But let's begin by giving you the headlines. So on the 4th of March, yes, I'm running a bit late making this video, but on the 4th of March, these opened up for pre-order directly through Nacelle. I'll make sure the link to their website is in the description down below. They're retailing at $28.99 with an expected ship date of October, so pre-order now, but not too much of a wait, particularly when you compare it to other smaller companies like Fresh Funky Fiction, for example. Disappointingly, they only appear to have US distribution right now, US only. When I visit the site, unless I go through a VPN, I get bounced into a loop, so I don't get an opportunity to see the figures. But for my friends over in the US, they're available directly through Nacelle. Hopefully those guys will organise some international distribution, because I think it'd be a shame not to get such a, an internationally well-known brand out there across all the territories. But yeah, that's your key headlines. Available for pre-order now, directly from Nacelle. $28.99, expected ship in October. Right, there you go. So there's the facts and figures. Let's now take a closer look at the digital renders. Okay, so let's get started with the first figure in the line. We've got Captain Jellicoe here, which of course Star Trek fans will know appeared in the Next Generation two-parter called Chain of Command, in which Picard gets kidnapped by the Cardassians and tortured by the Cardassians, and Jellicoe is the captain who steps in and takes command of the USS Enterprise in his absence and butts head with the crew, in particular Riker. Now I'm going to dwell on this guy for a few minutes, because he kind of opens up a conversation around a couple of things that I think might be a drawback about this line. I'm not always a fan of starting with the negatives and other drawbacks, but there are a couple of things that stand out that Jellicoe here is a great representation of. So to begin with, he's a relatively obscure character from Star Trek lore, as is many of the characters that they've chosen to release in this first initial wave, with the exception of one, maybe two. You know, if you count alternative reality versions or movie versions of popular main characters. So I get it. The folks over at Nacelle, and the dude, what's his name? Brian Weiss, has said, he's on record as saying, Star Trek collectors have been collecting stuff for years. They've all got a Picard, they've all got a Kirk, whatever. I wanted to get some stuff out there that never been seen before. So I kind of get the impulse as to what he's doing. But he is starting a brand new 6-inch line. And of course, getting it off to a good start and generating sales, generating revenue that will secure the longevity of the line is something that you'd perhaps think he was trying to do. And it's not like you're short of main characters to just even throw one or two in a wave, in a 7-figure wave, to keep it going. Working your way through all the series and movies. But yeah, Jellicoe is great. He's an interesting character. It's a great storyline. He's from some very kind of significant episodes with a number of significant events in it. But the fact that he's an obscure character, and you'll see as we go through, I won't dwell on it any further beyond this point, but you'll see as we go through, some of them are quite obscure characters. And also, articulation stands out to me. It's relatively well articulated. You got your articulation at the head, then you can obviously see that there's hinged shoulders, joint of the bicep and tricep, double elbows, looks like the wrists are joined. There's a waist cut, which I'm not always the biggest fan of. Then you've got your leg articulation with a thigh cut, got double knees, and I think it looks like there's a bit of pin and rocker there around the ankles. So it's relatively well articulated, but it's not keeping pace with modern standards as I see it in the 6-inch space now. Waist cuts with, Marvel Legends and WWE aside is kind of dying out. Ball joints are becoming much more popular with lines like G.I. Joe Classified, Valorverse, etc., etc. The absence of a diaphragm cut there, I probably wouldn't have liked a joint, but a diaphragm swivel barbell in there wouldn't go amiss if you wanted to get your folks with the phasers, in like little kind of shooty phase of points. So it's just a bit kind of minimal. No butterfly joints in the shoulders there, look. So the articulation stands out as being a little bit behind the curve. And at the $28.99 price point, like I say, when you compare it to G.I. Joe Classified, Valorverse, Fresh Monkey Fiction, Jada Toys, their Street Fighter stuff, when you look at what those folks are all doing in the 6-inch line, the articulation is a little bit of a disappointment. So, okay, I'll put that aside now because those two kind of points apply to the whole line. The articulation and the obscure character choices. But let's talk about them more generally. And let's start looking at this one at Captain Jellicoe here. The head likeness, so this is the actor Ronnie Cox. The head likeness is pretty damn good on this one. I think the sculpt is looking really, really impressive there. Very stern, serious, stoic-looking face, which he had a lot in the episodes that he appeared in. So the head sculpt's looking great. And then through the course of the uniform, down the figure, you can see lots of great stuff there. The pips, the communicator badge, nice textured details, creases, bits of bunching up, to give it that depth, to give it that kind of textural aspects there. The trousers are maybe a bit shiny, but overall it's good. The hands appear to be well sculpted, not oversized, not too small, So I think the sculpt is looking really great, and the paint applications are looking pretty sweet too. And it also looks like some of so the line across the top of the chest there and a little bit further down here looks like it's kind of sculpted in. It's not just painted on. I could be wrong with that, but that's looking kind of nice to me. So the head sculpt, Ronnie Cox has been done good there, and the sculpt of the figure. And it looks like the things like the communicators sculpted on. It's not a decal or a paint job. The pips look like they might be sculpted on. Now, that could be wrong. I'm just judging it by the digital render. And of course, because I'm lazy, I've not done extensive research on this, so I could be saying something that was already known. But I think there's a lot to like in the design and the sculpt there. And while I might be criticising the price point with regards to the main figure and the articulation in it, you certainly can't criticise the price point when it comes to added value, because the accessory selection is banging. You got this big, this is a wall piece with the fishbowl in it, Picard's fish. You got like 8 pairs of hands in there. There's some artwork, which is a direct reference to the artwork that appeared in the episode, as is the book about the Cardassians' customs and protocols, and the phaser, the data pad, just good generic bits boxy stuff for the line that you can use. And there's obviously hands there that are designed to hold the data pad, hold the book, hold the phaser, and so on and so forth. So lots of added value, lots of world building stuff in there. If you want to recreate the scenes from this, as if it's one of your favorite episodes, or you want to get some good classic Star Trek-y stuff going on, where they're all, debating a warp drive on a data pad or something, or who knows, through the line, if it is successful and continues, maybe we'll get loads of wall pieces and we can build a whole office or something. But there's no disputing the kind of added value elements with regards to the accessory selection, and the fact that the accessories plug nicely into the appearance of the character in the show, but are also kind of good world building bits that you could just sort of use in other contexts as well, I think is really, really cool. And of course, let's not forget that this uniform here is a pretty classic look, standard look, I should say. TNG uniform from the later seasons, from the mid to later seasons. So the reuse potential here is obviously massive. We can just need to change up the pips on the collar, and then you can use this for a number of red uniform wearing characters. So they've obviously set themselves up for a bit of ongoing success in the sense of the tooling and in the sense of the sculpting there, because you can use that, change the colour of the uniform, get an orange one on the go, get a blue one on the go, so on and so forth. New head sculpt. You probably even still use the same hands in the large majority of instances. Obviously, you'll need some different ethnic origins to line up with the ethnic origin of the character in question. But yeah, the reuse potential in that is obviously very, very high. Just with a simple change of the pips. Okay, next up we have Captain Rachel Garrett from another pretty iconic Next Generation episode. In fact, this is yesterday's Enterprise, with Enterprise C has come through a space-time anomaly, and various things happen. It's the return of the Tasha Yar, the alternative reality Tasha Yar in that episode. And again, it's pretty straightforward. I'm not sure if the head sculpt there is quite as strong. I don't know the name of the actress here, but it's all right. But it's not quite there. There's something a bit pinched in it. But the facial features are good. The hair is sculpted, the facial features, the paint applications on the lips, the eyes, the eyebrows, and such like. If they come real in the 6-inch form, as they're depicted here in the digital render. There, I'm pointing over here because I'm doing that thing where I've got it up on my monitor, but you guys have seen it here. Looks good, looks fine. And just like with Captain Jellicoe, there's a lot to like around the sculpt of the uniform, sculpted details like the shoulder piece here, sculpted communicator. Well, I was going to say communicator badge, but it's not a communicator badge on the Enterprise C. In fact, in the accessories, you can see you've got the communicator over there because it's a old school communicator, but you can see the sculpted details and the texture details with the creases and the folds. Got the stripes on the sleeve, the stripes down the side of the pants there. Once again, lots of reuse potential. It's not quite, but close to original series cast movie uniforms. They had the white collars up the top. Oh, in fact, we'll see when we look at Captain Sulu in a bit. But obviously, a lot of reuse potential with the addition of the collars. The accessory values in there as well. We've got the injured head sculpt, the injured head swap there, so that you can recreate that scene and depict the events of the episode when... Well, spoiler alert, but I think I'm in safe territory here. Captain Garrett dies as a result of a bird of prey attack there. And, you can recreate that scene if you want. Who knows? Down the line, maybe we'll get a Tasha Yar, yesterday's Enterprise Tasha Yar, and whoever the character is that Christopher McDonald was playing in the episode. I know the actor's name, but I can't remember the character's name. But he took over. So you can recreate the scene, or recreate the scenes. And again, you've got good accessories, the good world building accessories, good era specific, through the different, 23rd, 24th century stuff. So it's the era specific phaser and data pad, but we've also got the era specific communicator and stuff. So good stuff for the bits box, good stuff for the world building. I don't know if it's quite as impressive in terms of value as getting, a wall piece with a fishbowl in it, but still plenty of stuff to help your man-child playtime there with the hand swaps and the different accessories to do different things, set up different scenes, different photographs, and the like. So yeah, another good-looking addition. Aside from, of course, those two kind of neggy threads through there about the articulation and the fact that she's a relatively, she's an obscure character. It was a popular episode, but she appeared in one Next Generation episode, at least to my understanding. Was there a younger version I don't watch the Paramount Plus stuff nowadays, but I think there's a younger version turned up in a later episode. You'll see more recent Trek, Enterprise onwards, I'm a bit shakier on compared to middle Trek, 90s Trek. And while we're speaking of characters that only ever appeared in one episode, we have Tuvix here. Although it says figure number 5, I've just noticed on the bottom of the digital render. So I've obviously put them in the wrong order. Or maybe they're alphabetical. Anyway, it doesn't matter, does it, whether that's right. We're looking at each one in turn. But anyway, here you go. Here's Tuvix from the Star Trek Voyager episode named Tuvix, in which Tuvok and Neelix get combined by a transporter accident as a result of some weird, sci-fi double speak around around an orchid that they're conducting experiments on, which in fact is featured as an accessory while I'm talking about the orchid. There it is. There's the very orchid from the episode that had some sort of science fiction properties that mess things up in the transporter. I should have rewatched these episodes before I spoke about them, but there it is nonetheless. So again, aside from the fact that it's an obscure character that appeared in just one episode, although again, admittedly, a very popular episode that doesn't quite go the direction you might think it does if you were to watch it. There's a lot to like here if you're into obscure characters or Voyager's your bag. The head sculpts, both of them, are strong, good likenesses. Interestingly enough, it's not they got a third actor to come and play Tuvix, which I thought was interesting, rather than getting one of the two actors that play Tuvok and Neelix. And the likeness is strong, good. Looks like it's got great sculpt quality in there. You got the angry looking face, and then you got the kind of more just neutral looking face, but the sculpting is good. The paint applications are good with the kind of alien effects across the top of the head and things, which looks really sweet. And with the patterning across the top, like Neelix would wear these patterned tunics and stuff, but it's kind of sort of Tuvok's, security officer uniform and things. It looks really nice. A great representation of how he dressed in the episode. And again, lots of sculpted details in them. You can see the kind of pattern, the design across it. So not skimping out on that at all. Although now that I mention it, this one doesn't have a great deal of reuse potential. This one isn't, there's no instance in which you could use that tooling again, unless you make a Neelix costume that's painted differently, maybe. But who remembers Neelix wore so many, kind of patterned tunic-y type things through the course of the show. So it's good, it's strong, and the added values there again. Got the phaser, got the tricorder, got the hand swaps, 8 pairs in total again. We've got the kind of the scientific carry bag thing, which I assume one of them had over their shoulder at some point in the episode, and of course the lore specific, the episode specific kind of Easter egg accessory there. So that's all good. The fact that they're all coming with a phaser and a tricorder or a data pad and things, it just all really helps the world building there. So it's good. It's just not for me, because it's like it's such an obscure character, just a single episode appearance. But I like what I'm seeing. I just wish, I could see a Michael Dorn's Worf with that kind of care and attention put into the head sculpt on a a more well-known Klingon or something. You know what I mean? Or a Vulcan or whatever. Anyway, however, as just a kind of superficial eyeball of it, looking pretty good, isn't it? Looking pretty good. Here we go. Now we're getting the big guns out. Here is Captain Sulu. Of course, from when he took over his own ship, as we saw in, was it 5? Undiscovered Country? I think it was 5, Undiscovered Country. Or 6. Is Undiscovered Country 6? I lose track. But, he took over his own ship. Looking good. Again, the George Takei head sculpt is a little bit shaky, but it's a relatively good likeness, all told. And of course, as I mentioned, I think the sculpting quality seems pretty solid there. The facial features look really great, in there. And you look at it, it's George Takei, so it can't be that far off the mark, can it? Again, same as the comments really as the others. You can see the nice sculpting detail, like the collar, the badge, the belt. It's not skimped on at all. There's lots of sculpted details in there to bring it to life and to give it some depth. It's all obviously accurate, really accurate to the appearance in the movie and the uniform he was wearing. So loving all that stuff. And again, loads of great accessories thrown in there. We've got the teacup from the scene in the movie where he's drinking his tea. We've got some different era phasers as well, just to kind of mix it up. So you've got some stuff to go into the bits box there. Got his communicator. I don't know what this other thing is. I don't recognise that. Is that plot specific? Did that to do with something that happens in the movie? Or is that the film version of the communicator and that's the TV series version of the communicator? Someone let me know in the comments down below. It's been a while since I've watched the movie, but still great to have little gadgets and doohickeys and MacGuffins in Star Trek, in your Star Trek bits box, which is great. Less hands. Sulu's coming with 6 in total rather than 8 for whatever reason. I don't know, but they're obviously practical, as you can see, for holding the phasers, holding the communicators, holding this teacup, etc., which is fine. And then we've got this little kind of tunic piece that, well, I think it's a tunic piece. I can't quite. So in the movie, after one of the attacks, a few of them have got their tunic kind of flopped open, to my memory, and that's what it looks like underneath. That's the lining of that section across the shoulder there. So it looks like you can pop it over the top, or pop it off, and pop a section off the figure and pop that on or something. I don't know. Again, this is probably a known quantity that has been demonstrated at a toy fair somewhere or on a stream that I've just missed. But again, just adding, again, if you want to get your scene together, the dio you're putting together is a post-battle bridge or something. Then you can make them look a bit more disheveled, which is great. But yeah, this is probably, I'd say, the most eye-catching of the whole line in terms of, kind of main character appeal. I would argue. So I think this one, possibly the more popular, the most popular of them all. Time will tell, I suppose, but let me know in the comments down below if you agree. All right, next up, we've got Valkyris here, who's from The Search for Spock, I want to say. It's definitely one of the movies. It's the one with Christopher Lloyd in it as a Klingon. Now, this one's a curious one to me because this is like super obscure. To my memory, it's been a little while since I've watched the film, but Valkyris is in it for like a 5-minute scene. I mean, it's an important scene because she's the one who smuggled the Genesis device stuff out and got it to Christopher Lloyd's Klingon character, whose name escapes me right now. But she's super obscure. She appears in the movie for a very brief amount of time. A very interesting. I mean, I know I mentioned obscure characters, but at least they're from popular episodes. This is like super obscure. And I don't know. She just the head sculpt. She just looks surprised, or like she's just had an injection she wasn't expecting or something. The eyes are wide. I don't know, just something about that head sculpt. I mean, it's all there. The quality, the paint apps, the facial features, all the weird like Klingon headdress and stuff is all there. There's just something about that. Like she's just had an accident in her pants or something. They've certainly not shied away from the cleavage there, which, is accurate. That's what the cleavage was out in the movie. The cleavage is out on the figure. And there's good texture designs. Like, look at the texture design in a tunic there underneath, and the little kind of Klingon belt buckly thing with the bone shapes in them, and the little sculpted details there you can see on the wrist gauntlets. It's all good. The boots are shiny and leathery, and all aggressive. And again, not short of value in the accessories. Got a batleth, got a Klingon blaster, got all the Genesis device stuff in there. Another big, chunky set of accessories there, like the console where she plugs the thing into. Even got the little, like, cassette type thing that she plugs into it, and the little scanner unit and stuff. So it's all there, if you want to recreate your Search for Spock scenes. 8 sets of hands, and again, they look like well-sculpted hands. They look like unique hands, this character, although I suspect female characters with tunic uniforms with bits of sleeve that go over the top there, they'll be able to make reuse of it. They'll appear again in moving my mouse. They'll appear again in other Klingon characters, one would suspect. So fundamentally, again, there's nothing wrong. Looking really great there, but like just too obscure, like a bridge too far on the obscurity there. And I feel like he's a bit of a hostage figure, because if you did want to get your Search for Spock like collection together and you wanted the Genesis device stuff, you got to pick up this Valkyris, So while the value's in there in terms of the accessory stuff, you kind of ended up with a character that, if you wanted to recreate one of the famous scenes or one of the famous moments from the movie, the scene where she delivers the drive and then Christopher Lloyd blows her ship up. It's kind of just a 4-minute event, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to speed up because I'm running a bit long, but we've only got a little stretch left to go. Here's Mirror Universe Archer. Enterprise, I'm much less familiar with Enterprise. I don't know a great deal about it. I mean, obviously there's Scott Bakula from Quantum Leap and whatever he's been in subsequently. I know the actor. The likeness is, again, all right. Okay. It's not the best out of this line, but, you know, you can see it. You can look at it and know. It feels to me like his forehead's a bit too big. He's got like a massive forehead there, but not being familiar with the episode, maybe that's something they did with his hairline in the episode, for all I know. So yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's obviously in that kind of mirror uniform Terran mirror universe Terran Empire uniform bit there, but obviously we've seen uniforms of this nature feature in original series and stuff. So we can see this making a reappearance. Certainly the legs and the sort of shape of the tunic and that. So it's all right. It's got some sculpted details there in around the wrists and that. Got value stuff in there, the hand swaps, this some sort of knife thing. Got a couple of different phasers or blasters there, I think from the two universes, the mirror universe, and some communication devices and stuff. There's also this bottle of booze and a couple of glasses and like a champagne glass. I don't know what this booze is. Romulan ale's blue. So is the mirror universe Romulan ale green? I don't know. Again, anyone who's more familiar with Enterprise and this particular episode would probably be able to tell me, but I feel like it's an episode-specific lore reference there, so that's fine. So it's okay, it's fine. Definitely a miss for me, because just Enterprise isn't my bag. Even if I was to go for Enterprise, I'd want him in that blue kind of flight suit-y thing, you know. So this is a bit of a miss for me, but I can see why this might appeal if Enterprise is your thing and you love the mirror universe and, you know, living in the dark timeline and all that. Yeah, not a great deal else to say on this one. This guy, however, Deep Space Nine, this is my bag. I would firmly declare here now for all to know that Star Trek Deep Space Nine is my favourite Star Trek. Love Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And of course, Weyoun is a kind of key villainous and, antagonistic character. So yeah, I'd edge him into the main line a little bit. So let's say three out of the wave are eye-catching. This is possibly one that I will pick up because Deep Space Nine is my thing. Lots of value in there. We've got the two head sculpts here. Very good likeness, I think, of Jeffrey Combs there. Love that serious kind of starey look. Great sculpted details with his alien features, his extraterrestrial features in there. The blue, the striking eyes, and then the smiling face, the smiling assassin face. Because he's known to be a bit of a prick who'll kill you while smiling at you. So that's good. Great sculpted details in the uniform, in his tunic, and everything there looks really wonderful. Got the 8 hands, got the very lore-specific stuff in there around the Dominion and the Ketracel White and the Ketracel White carry case and the vials and his little control, his Jem'Hadar control eyepiece there. But there is a little Easter egg in here too. We've got the pepperoni pizza and the chopsticks with a bit of pepperoni on it. Which is I forget the name of the episode. It's from that episode where he's the clone. Because Weyoun gets cloned. So there's a Weyoun 5, a Weyoun 6, a Weyoun 7, and one of the clones decides to defect, and Odo is taking him somewhere because he's a dodgy clone. There's something wrong. The cloning process didn't work, and he decides to defect to the Federation. And Odo feeds him while on the shuttle. Feeds him pizza slices and eats it with a chopstick. Anyway, you probably knew that. So yeah, I like the look of this one. Let's zoom back out again. Yeah, I like the look of this one. This is a good one. Deep Space Nine is my bag. I think a lot to like in here. Once again, putting aside the articulation concerns. And I don't feel like this one's quite as obscure as some of the others that they've chosen. And then finally, at least for this wave, they've name only announced a Generations Captain Kirk. Oh, I meant to say that at the end. Anyway, spoiler alert. But this is Peter Preston, or Midshipman Peter Preston, here in the line from Wrath of Khan. This is, good. You've got that kind of Wrath of Khan style astronaut space suit with the big space boots and all that. Which they can obviously reuse a number of times, just need to change the rank insignia or whatever. But once again, lots of nice, lovely sculpted details tucked away in there with all the kind of various bits and bobs and detritus across the uniform. The head sculpt is, again, all right for the character. Another one that looks a little bit like surprised. Slight bit of surprise in the facial expression there. And of course, Peter Preston, spoiler alert, meets his end in the episode. You can see all his burnt up face. This is the kid. This is the one from the movie who's Scotty's nephew, is it? Again, it's been a while since I watched the film, but this is Scotty's nephew here. And loads of cool accessories like the breathing apparatus, the phaser, the tools he's using in that scene where he's fixing the doobry what's it. The Star Trek-y doohickey, communicator device. Yeah, that is the communicator device. Some hand swaps, although not quite as many, but they're obviously in the big kind of astronaut space glove shapes. But they're practical, so you can hold the tools and accessories that come with him. Again, not for me. When it comes to movie characters, just give me the headliners. You know what I mean? Give me the top of the bill when it comes to the movies. I want a Kirk and a Khan. You want a Spock, you want a Bones, you want a Sulu, you want a Uhura, you want your main antagonists. And while there's something about the kind of less frequently seen, the lower decks characters, as they would say, in the red shirts, just not one for me, this, So there we go then, folks. I'll wrap that one up there. I hope you enjoyed my commentary and thoughts on the new Nacelle Toys Star Trek line. I do hope it gets to go somewhere, that we do get an opportunity to start seeing more of the main characters that we know and love. I saw some discussions and debate going on saying, Super 7 did this and they did main characters and that fell on its arse. But to that I would say, well, it was Super 7. You know what I mean? They're vastly overpriced products for what they are. And I can also understand, like you might say, well, people have got their 5-inch lines. Why do they want, the new characters? But this is a snapshot of a moment in time of opportunity to bring some new collectors in who love Star Trek. People are rewatching it on the new Paramount Plus service, or rediscovering Star Trek off the back of the alternate reality bollocky stuff that's now coming out and they're being churned out, and going back in and engaging with the older stuff. So it's a snapshot of a moment in time. And by all means, do the obscure characters. There are certainly obscure characters that I'm like, oh yeah, I'd love to see that guy, or I'd love to see her. Like Wayne, great antagonist that I'd be really into. As a Deep Space Nine guy, I'd love, a Morn and some of the Klingons like Gowron and stuff that joined the fight against the Dominion. I'd be well up for that. So there's nothing wrong, fundamentally with obscure characters, but I just think it's not the best foot forward, But there we go. But still, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Always love to hear from you guys and what you're thinking. Are you going to pick this line up, or is it not for you? You're not much of a Trekker, all that good stuff. But all that remains the same, of course, as I like to finish the episode. I hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great week, and swing back around for another video sometime soon. All right, folks? And until then, take it easy.